But Lot's wife looked back as she was following him behind him, and she turned into a pillar of salt. Jesus in Luke 17:32 tells us to remember Lot's wife.
Okay. So she looked back, and then that ended her story in the Bible. Okay. He said, don't look back. And then that's all that we heard about her. And it ended, right? Because she looked back. But the question to me was, even when I was reading this and I was talking to the Lord, I'm like, what is she looking back for? Like, they've already said what it was. The place was filled with sin. Why do we look back at our place where we used to sin? Why do we look back at these relationships like they're going to produce anything other than sin? Why are we even glancing at where we used to be? Like it's adding any fuel to today. You know, what value does your past have in the present? What value is your past going to bring to the future? Yes, you have testimonies, but they're gone. You should have a new one by now. You know, I have people all the time, and bless their heart, they share dreams from 20 years ago. And I'm like, what did you dream yesterday? What did he give you afresh? Because not that that stuff doesn't matter, but the reality is, what value does it have when you're going forward? What value does having those people that in those places, what value are they going to bring forward? God took out an entire city and she still had nerve to go look at the sin again. He just saved your entire life and your family, and you want to go over here and look at sin to check on all the people that couldn't be obedient in the first place. Instead of saying, praise the Lord, my whole family made it. You want to look back on the people that aren't honoring Christ. You want to go back because you are not Jesus. You cannot save them. There is nothing that you can do to save some people. You have to move forward for yourself. And God was showing me this, and he's like, yeah, daughter, I've given you testimony after testimony after testimony, but there comes a point when those testimonies are irrelevant if you have no fruit from today. He said, because you have to be going forward. And with God, you should be going from glory to glory to glory. But if you're hanging out with sin or you're checking back on your previous sin, what value is it doing? You can't go to glory with sin. You can't go to heaven with it. He tells us, no, I'm not saying be perfect, because we will never be perfect. But it does not mean that we don't strive for it. It does not mean that we don't live in obedience. It doesn't mean that we don't wake up and die to our flesh every single day. Because the reality is, if every time one of us looked back at our sin, we turned into a pillar of salt, would anybody be sitting here?